Thanks, Scott. Now that we've heard from 4 different critical approaches on everyday use, let's talk about what we've seen from the dialogue between critics.
That's a great idea, Jen. Why don't we invite Scott and Becky back out to join our discussion?
Great.
Thanks, Scott, Becky, for sitting down with us.
Oh, no problem.
So, I just want to ask, what are some of the most common critical problems or issues that come up again and again in the criticism, and what passages or events and scenes that critics argue about, and what are the most common opinions?
You know, one of the most important scenes in the story seems to be the quilt scene when Mama gives the quilt to Maggie instead of Dee.
Yeah, that seems to be the climax of the story, where Mama finally gains her voice.
Yeah, a lot of critics will debate on, well, is she becoming empowered at this point, or is she just, you know, what is she doing? She's, you know, she's making a stand against one daughter to support the other, or some critics see it that she's, you know, see it differently. She really brings into play the question of heritage that also seems to come up all the time. Like, how are they representing their heritage?
And which daughter has it right, like if their heritage is meant to be put on the wall, or if it's just meant to be used every day, like Maggie would, or...
You know, a lot of critics, as well as the readers of the story, love to side with Mama. You know, they think she's a lot more, they just think her idea of heritage
like humble and more
exactly
close to home.
Yeah, but then where does that leave Dee, too? Is she just the stuck-up snob that everybody wants to make her, or is she more than that?
Well, another thing that I'm seeing while we're just talking about this is that people talk about the relationship Mama has with her kids, and narrative and having power and being able to objectify the situation and act on it.
And then I've also seen or heard about being talked about how the tenses of the words are used.
Yeah.
I don't know, how does that play a role?
Well, Sam Whitsitt argues that her change from present tense to past tense after the name scene gives her a greater hold of the story, because she's able to distance herself from the story and look at it from an objective point of view.
And that's exactly what Nancy Tutton also says.
rather than being under Dee's voice, she has her own through her actions.
Yeah.
Her name. It's
Yeah.
what her grandmother was named, and before that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you still see the oppression that Maggie is, or not Maggie, but Dee is trying to fight against by changing her name, is there.
It's bad, and I know that one article brought in Alice Walker's intent on that, saying that she's trying to say that this new Back to Africa movement is not the right way to go, because you have to think about the American
way
here.
that Dee knew how was to try to educate her, and maybe her attitude in doing it wasn't the best way to go about it, but her motives were correct.
So just to recap, the scenes that seem to be coming up a lot is the quilt scene, the name scene, the scene when she's taking the pictures.
We also talk about the tenses and the characterization of Mama, Maggie, and Dee, as well as part of all that.
And we definitely have a lot of debates going on without any sort of solution. I guess it's just up to the reader how they feel about the story and who they want to.
And the most important thing to note is that their critical approaches really change how they view everything, you know. So, thank you guys very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
This has been a great discussion.
And good night from LTWR 300B.
Unified folk culture. Did you guys see that? Spit a ton.